Hello, everybody. This is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters of the Week video. As always, I just do these randomly from a random cryptid generator. Whatever it lands on there, I'm going to talk about here. In this case, this has to do with a cryptid that apparently terrorized a location there in India back in 2001, although there's some skepticism associated with it as well. In fact, it could be down to the idea of just being mass hysteria, where people thought that they saw something, but maybe it could have been something else. And in this case, it just took on a life of its own. But you're looking at a representation of it now. It has some unique names as well. For the sake of this video, I'm just going to call it the Monkey Man of New Delhi. So let's go ahead and let's talk about all the rich information associated with this very bizarre creature. Let me know what your thoughts are too. Was this something that truly happened, or is this something else that people just misinterpreted as another thing altogether? So here's what happened. Again, you have to go back to 2001 there in India, specifically in New Delhi, and that's where the story of the Monkey Man of New Delhi occurred. It goes by other names as well. It's known as the Kala Bandar, and then in other iterations, it's known as the Face Scratcher. More on that here in a minute. But this is the creature that essentially terrorized a good number of locals and eyewitnesses there within that period. It seems like it came about in May 2001, and then just as quickly it left. But either way, it made a memorable impression. The physical characteristics associated with this creature are as follows. It's about maybe 4 feet tall. It's covered in this thick black hair. And most interestingly enough, it had these components to it that almost seemed human-like. For example, it was wearing a metal helmet throughout many of its encounters. It also had these metallic claws that were on its hands. How about that, right? That's definitely not something that nature would have. It would be something else human-like whenever it comes to that type of attribute. And then it had, in some cases, pants, and in other cases, not wearing pants. And then in other cases, people saw its eyes. There were apparently these glowing red eyes, although people sometimes stated that it was more along the lines of goggles as well. So it could have been wearing goggles, or this could have been its real eyes altogether. And then finally, people saw these strange things associated with its chest. Apparently, these 3 large buttons that nobody really knows essentially what they were doing. But imagine something smallish like that, moving in a monkey-like manner, being able to hop around, climb trees, and then ambush people as well. It was also noted as being more nocturnal, so it was definitely doing a lot of its attacks at night. And that's essentially what you have here. You have the Monkey Man of New Delhi, and it was there terrorizing some of those people. In fact, the story about it being the face scratcher comes from this. Apparently, when it was attacking people, it was known to use those claws within its hands, those metallic claws, to scratch at people directly, either at their face or in some cases at their bodies. And if you believe these stories, it ended up causing 2 deaths, maybe even 3, but not in a direct fashion, more indirectly. In fact, these encounters go like this. This monkey man jumped down from the tops of some buildings, and then when that happened, it started clawing people. And in turn, those people actually ended up falling off of the same building, or they fell off a stairwell. And in that case, they fell down and they died in those situations. So if you're to believe, then at least in an indirect manner, that this monkey man in Delhi was responsible for their deaths, then you have at least that link associated with their attacks. And then, of course, there were some artist impressions to try to catch this creature, see essentially what it was made of, see what people were describing based on their encounters, and you're looking at some drawings of them here. As you can see, the interpretations of it vary pretty significantly, at least according to me. Like, at least that's what it looks like on my end, but it could be one of those things where people just see it in a very quick fashion. They have just seconds, if even that, to be able to get an impression of whatever this creature looked like, and then there they are, trying to give a recount of what it looked like, and a lot of those details will vary throughout the people's own encounters. Now, luckily, there is a way to essentially ward off this monkey man. It may have to do with those eyes that I was mentioning earlier. Either it had on those goggles or those eyes were its real eyes, but it ties into this. It apparently suffers from bright lights. Like, it doesn't like that kind of bright light shining in its face. Maybe it even had those goggles for that specific reason. So the story goes, in order to ward off this monkey man, all you have to do is shine a very bright light in its face, and its quote unquote night vision goggles essentially become ineffective. That's when the creature will start running about, and it's not able to handle everything facing towards it in terms of a flashlight or a torch or whatever else. And then that's it. It's gone. Another way to do it is apparently throwing water at those 3 buttons that are located on its chest. There seems to be the notion that these are more mechanical buttons, like they have electrical parts or something else tied to its chest in an electrical manner, and doing it will cause great damage to the monkey man in Delhi. So in other words, it's protecting its chest, and if it knows that it has this water being thrown about it, then it's going to be able to escape as quickly as possible to ensure there's not much damage on it too. And then in some cases, the creature, when it was leaving or it was running away, it was actually able to turn invisible. So some people saw it there at one moment, and then pressing one of those same buttons that it was trying to protect caused it to essentially disappear right in front of people as it was able to escape. Again, tying into the fact that this could be something more on lines of something occurred to it on a human level, as opposed to nature creating a creature just like this. And then finally, some other incidents that occurred associated with this monkey man. Back in May 13th, 2001, that's when it went on an almost face scratching spree, because all of a sudden 15 people, imagine that, 15 people ended up having these injuries or other types of bites or scratches from this monkey man. And then 2 days later, on May 15th, 2001, that's when a pregnant woman actually ran into this monkey man as well. Apparently she ran into him while she was fleeing from some stairs. Some neighbors had alerted to her about this monkey man running about, and then they alerted her that he was right there near her, and so that's when she saw it within those stairs, and she was able to describe it as some of the previous descriptions that I mentioned earlier. Then in May 18th, 2001, that's when a van driver also ended up having some injuries linked to this monkey man. Apparently there was some multiple fractures. The idea I get is that he was driving his van, and then all of a sudden something happened to him. Either the monkey man jumped right on him within the van itself, or caused the van to crash. But either way, though, he ended up having these multiple fractures. And then finally, some of the final sightings associated with the monkey man occurred in February 2002 at a location called Kanpur, and then also again in New Delhi back in July 2002. And this was one of the most interesting encounters, because apparently the machines slash electrical stuff that the monkey man had on him started to emit and sparkle red and blue lights. So who knows, maybe this was something else where this monkey man in New Delhi was having electrical problems, like it was finally something that was just taking so much damage to him that it was causing these sparks, or maybe they were just a natural occurrence. But either way, though, that was one of the final times that he was seen. And then at one point, he was even seen stealing a phone from another person. And then that was it. No more encounters associated with the monkey man of New Delhi. So again, as quickly as he came on board, he essentially disappeared within a few months, and then no one else has seen him afterward. But his impact is still there to this day. In fact, cut to a couple of years later, And in 2009, there was a Bollywood film called Delhi 6. And in it, there was the creature that was again called the Kala Bandar, which stands for a translation of black monkey. And it was there showcased as an evil creature that was actually inside every person. And then somehow it was able to be drawn out. At least the film showcased that. It sounds like through multiple situations. But again, the impact associated with this Monkey Man in New Delhi even went all the way to movies. But that's pretty much it. If anybody has any more info, anything else I might have missed, then please post those comments below. What about those of you in New Delhi? It's been over 20 years since the last known encounter, but if anybody has more info on a local level, then please post them below. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.